Hi, I'm Mike Crabb.
And I'm Laurie Schultz. Welcome to the show.
We'll have some caffeinated conversation.
And maybe some special guests along the way.
Who knows where the conversation will go? You're out for coffee with Mike and Laurie. Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Out for Coffee.
With Mike and Laurie.
Hi, Laurie.
Hi, Mike.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm doing just nifty, thank you.
Nifty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that not an appropriate word to use?
It's fine. It's classic.
Oh, I didn't know
Nifty.
I was being all classy when I said
it's kind
nifty.
of like, I don't know. I feel like Laverne and Shirley.
Okay.
Kind of like Shirley Feeney. Well, that's nifty.
Which I know is Penny Marshall.
Yeah.
And Lily Tomlin.
No, Cindy Williams.
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, all right.
I can sign up for some Penny Marshall, though. She makes me laugh.
Well, she did. She's dead.
That's correct. Fact.
Hey,
Sure.
Speaking of dead.
Okay.
We've been losing a lot of celebrities so far in 2022.
Well, let's do a recap. We all know our near and dear Betty White.
She almost made it.
So close.
Almost made it.
A moment of silence.
What do you do?
Oh, we love her.
Well, I mean, the world doesn't owe you much when you're 99 and 11 months and 31 days.
I think I saw like one of the last interview videos she did was sharing how appreciative she is of the career she's had and sharing a lot of gratitude for where she is in life and how she got there. And as awful as it is to say goodbye, what a sweet final message to share with the world.
Yeah.
It makes you believe everything's going to be okay.
Sure.
Who else died?
Betty.
Who else died?
Bob Saget.
Bob
Saget, Danny Tanner.
Oh,
I
never watched Full House.
I did for a while.
That was a girl show.
Oh, was it?
Sorry.
Yeah. He was the original host of America's Funniest Videos, though.
Yes, America. This is you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question about that. In the beginning of every episode of America's Funniest Home Videos, back when he did it, did they have? I looked it up and I couldn't find anything about it. Did they have a different family sitting in a living room, like a staged family pretending they were watching TV as they were introducing, and it swooped over the okay, I remember this. Kevin has no idea what I'm talking about, and I'm like, I'm sure there is a family or something at the beginning of every episode.
I believe you're correct.
We should look that up a little differently.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then Meatloaf died.
Yes, he did.
Louis Anderson died.
Oh yeah, I forgot that he passed.
And then
oh my god, it's been a busy month.
Died. Like somebody else just died.
I think there's been so many that my brain can't hold them all in.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's like it was January. That all happened in January.
Done.
Yikes.
This is going to be a long year.
Better take my vitamins.
Well, remember 2017 when
2016.
Was it 2016?
It was 2016 because that was the year my dad died.
Oh, and he's a celebrity.
You're right in there
household.
with the celebs, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a really crazy year for celebrities.
Like a lot. I'm going to put a conspiracy hat on. I believe that at that point, they were all loading into a spaceship to fly off to another planet, knowing that COVID-19 was coming and they're all starting a new world somewhere.
Like Cocoon?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Wilford Brimley? Did he make it? Was he there?
Sure, why not?
Steve Guttenberg? I liked Steve Guttenberg. There was a time when I thought I was going to marry him. I was incorrect.
Who's Steve Guttenberg? What's he from? How do I know him?
Who is Steve Guttenberg?
How many times? Let's see how many times this episode. Let's talk TV shows and stuff and see how many times Laurie gets appalled that I don't know who she's talking about.
Yeah, already appalled. Steve Guttenberg was in Cocoon.
Okay.
He was in the Police Academy movies.
Okay. Oh, I would know if I watched them.
Right. He was in Short Circuit. He was in Three Men and a Baby.
Okay.
Steve
Yes, I know who he is.
Yeah.
Thanks, Google.
Yeah. Thanks, Google.
You actually, when you said 3 Men and a Baby, I clicked in.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rob?
Just funny you just mentioned, or off the top, you were talking about Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
If I mentioned the name Eddie Mecca.
Yes.
You
Carmine.
No, actually, the big ragu. Well,
Yeah, he was Carmine
Carmine.
Ragusa, the big ragu.
The big ragu. Yeah, who was Shirley's boyfriend, I believe, if I remember that
He's a
correctly.
tap dancer.
Oh yeah, he's quite a dancer. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were the two chucklehead guys?
Lenny and Squiggy.
Lenny and Squiggy.
You told me all about Lenny and Squiggy before.
That's right.
Mhm.
Hello. I love Squiggy and Lenny.
Squiggy. Yes, they're both gone now. But did you also know that?
No. Michael McKean, is he gone?
Yeah, because Lenny, who would be the tall blonde of the two, if you remember.
This is Spinal Tap.
This is Spinal Tap. That's right. He was the lead in This is Spinal Tap. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Squiggy just died within a year or two. Yeah. Hello. But TV, man, I can't get enough.
You've been watching your fair share?
Yeah. I took the year off to do fun things. And we're still in COVID and we've just been in a lockdown. So my fun things have been Netflix.
What types of things have caught your eye?
Everything. Like this episode is not going to bode well for me. It's going to make me look like somebody who's just an absolute couch potato. And although I do love potatoes,
in the air fryer.
I have in the air fryer. I have watched a lot of television and a lot of movies and a lot of documentaries over the last couple of years.
Well, I think that's one thing that has united the world in a way. We're all stuck at home watching these things together. So what are a few things you've watched? Maybe we've watched separately, but together in our hearts.
Well, let me tell you about the strange thing that I watched one time.
Stranger Things.
Well, definitely Stranger Things. It's on the list. We'll get there.
Oh,
but this is back before the bandwagon. This was on the second day that it was released, before anybody else had really seen it.
Okay.
Our friend Sloan had called me and said, "You've got to watch this thing that I just watched. It is a monstrosity. I don't know what the heck this is all about, but I can't stop watching it." Yes, you can.
Is it Tiger King?
It is Tiger King.
Of course it is.
So on the second day that Tiger King was released, I watched the first episode and I was like, what the hell did I just watch? But I have to see what happens next.
Well, you're left with more questions than answers.
Absolutely. And then I watched the next episode and I was like, wait a minute. There's so much more I need to know now.
These levels.
Yeah. And then this whole thing was just it just messed with my head. I'm like, how can these be real people? But they're real people.
Mm-hmm. Sadly.
And each episode just got weirder and weirder and weirder. And I'm like, I got to see this through. And I know people are like, oh, but there's animals who are suffering. But that's not what it's actually about. It's about the insanity of these people and the murder for hire plot and all this other stuff. You know going in that there's animals in it. So you don't have to worry that you're going to be shocked by something.
Right.
Okay. It's not what it's about. It really isn't about the tigers. It's about
the animals that are overseeing the tigers.
Yeah. And I'd have to say, I've watched it completely through twice.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. Right.
I could only do it the once. That was
what
more
is
than
wrong
enough.
with me? I don't know. Yeah, twice, because I thought I have to be missing something.
Well, so you watched the second season?
I started and I couldn't do it.
Interesting.
I got enough. I got enough of what I needed from season one.
If it was becoming repetitive for you?
Well, it was like, I don't need to know any more to this story. I'm tired.
Right. Oh, funny you say that, because I felt kind of the same way about Making a Murderer. I watched the first season of that and I was really into it. And the second season, I fizzled out and I wasn't for it anymore. But I know that it was a really interesting story.
Yeah.
Still in development at the time that it first came out. There was still lots of changes and things happening.
Now that's a true story too.
Yes.
Like that's, yeah. Well, it's true crime. You know how I love that.
Yes, you do love your true crime. So are there other true crime things? Because I know this is kind of your area of expertise.
It is my area of expertise. There's a couple of things. I do have some documentaries, but there are a couple of things that were based in truth.
Okay.
Like Unsolved Mysteries.
Right.
I mean, you got to go watch that. Like
we watched all those.
Yeah. And then there's one called Mindhunter. Have you heard of Mindhunter?
Yes, I'm pretty sure you actually recommended the show to Kevin and I, and
good.
we gave it a solid watch.
Yeah, it's about the guys who started the behavioral analysis unit at the FBI, right. And they first started to interview Ed Kemper, who was a serial killer.
Right.
So this is how this all started, with interviewing serial killers to find out what were you thinking.
Right.
And so it's interesting. It was cool. But I have a whole list here. Look at this. For those of you who can see it, it's a huge list of things.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
I'm not kidding. I mean business when I'm talking about my Netflix and my Prime and my Crave.
Hey, well, I'll throw in a true crime that Kevin and I have been binging,
Yes.
and that we haven't caught up to. This is actually on YouTube, and there's
Oh.
a channel on YouTube called That Chapter, THAT chapter, That
Yeah.
Chapter, and it's this really sweet guy. His name's Mike. He's Irish, and he has 20 to 30-minute episodes roughly, and
Okay.
each one is talking about a different murder case or serial killing case, and he does an episode just recapping kind of everything that's happened, but he tells it in a very real way where it's lighthearted, but like not taking to light the horrible things that are clearly happening through it.
Okay.
But it's very interesting, and he just the way he can tell, because he's done episodes on things that there have been Netflix shows based on, so you can watch the Netflix version of it. That's like a 6-episode thing on this topic, and he will tell the same thing in a 25-minute thing, and it's just like snappy, and I
Like
really
condensed?
like it. Yes.
Yeah.
And you get everything you need out of it. So I would recommend That Chapter, because he's consistently releasing episodes and stuff that's like currently happening and people that are missing and stuff right now. It's very interesting.
Like the Chris Watts story. Did you ever see that on there?
Yes. So he did this Mike on That Chapter. He did that. That's kind of one of the ones, because there's a Netflix story on Chris Watts.
Yeah,
and his
American
family.
Murder, The Family Next Door.
And this is a story about a family where the dad murders his 2 daughters and his wife,
Who's pregnant.
And it's just the story of how he lied to the authorities and all that stuff, and just kind of like the fall of him and the choices he made. And it's a very heavy story, but very interesting. That one certainly caught my eye.
Yeah. Did you ever see Evil Genius?
Is Evil Genius, now, is this the one about a lady?
Yeah.
And okay, I remember watching it, and I don't remember what it's about though. Remind me.
There are so many things. There was a guy that he was a pizza delivery guy, and I guess she and her friend, this woman and her friend, captured him and made him put a bomb around his neck and sent him into a bank to rob the bank. And the bomb went off on live television, killed him. Oh my God. But then she had a dude in her freezer, and like right out there. It was pretty good.
I'm pretty sure it was one of those things, because you told me to watch some of the Dateline things on YouTube as well too.
The Thing About Pam. That was a great one. I was just
going to say, which so there's this one episode called The Thing About Pam, and it's a Dateline story. And I don't know, they're like an hour long episodes? An hour and a half,
sometimes
maybe?
40 minutes to an hour, like depends on the
TV
story.
show length in a way. But I remember being like 10 minutes into The Thing About Pam, and I was like, what is going on? It just blew my mind. And I'm like, what else do we have to talk about? And it just kept getting crazier and crazier. And specifically about this one, I don't know if you saw this, but they're actually releasing a story version of it, like where actors are portraying those characters.
Yeah.
And Renee Zellweger is playing Pam.
Cool.
And she's I saw pictures of her in costume, like tabloid pictures of her in her costume and stuff. And it looks not like Renee Zellweger. It looks very interesting.
Yeah, but Renee Zellweger doesn't look like Renee Zellweger anyway.
That's actually very
She got a
true.
new face a little while ago, and it was like witness protection Renee Zellweger.
Different Renee.
Yeah, that's crazy. But there's another, I don't know if it's a series, but there was a documentary that was another true crime one that just made you go, what is going on here? And it was called Abducted in Plain Sight.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I watched it because your recommendation.
Oh, I'm so glad you listened. Because I find the weird stuff, man. And that one, I just rewatched it probably like 3 years later, and it still blows my mind. And it's about this little girl who gets abducted by a family friend twice.
Yeah.
And it's so bizarre.
Now, I do think that this is one of the Netflix ones that we kind of grazed over, thinking it was a bit of a judge the book by its cover. And we're like, meh, next. And we kept going. And then when you recommended it, we watched it. And that was one of those ones where we're 10 minutes in and we're like, what is going on?
What is happening?
Definitely worth checking out.
How about the Ted Bundy tapes?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Saw those.
Yeah.
You're his number one fan? I don't think that's right.
No, I'm not. I am not actually, but fascinating to hear him tell it in his own words.
Right.
And then there was the movie that happened with Zac Efron when he played Ted Bundy, and it was amazing too.
Oh, I didn't think it was amazing.
It was amazing.
Watched it because Zac Efron's in it, and that's just who I want to watch on TV.
It was pretty good though, Mike.
It was all right.
He did a really good job as Ted Bundy.
Okay.
It was believable.
Maybe I'll have to rewatch it, but I don't remember leaving that being like, yes, they did that right.
Well, it was based on the woman's book. The woman, his girlfriend.
His partner, yeah.
Yeah, It was based on her book.
Right.
Yeah. It was good. I liked it.
That's an interesting perspective too.
Another one that's really heavy.
Yeah.
The Keepers.
Okay, so this is one of the things that when I first kind of started chatting with you socially, Laurie, you recommended that one.
Did I?
Yes.
There's a good opener. Hey, Mike, watch this. Yikes.
Because it's a really heavy look into religion, Catholic religion specifically, right? Yeah. And the horrible things that happen to people.
Well, it was a murdered nun.
And this nun was trying to help people out, was she not? Was she not trying to help victims out?
And this nun knew way too much
and
was disappeared, found murdered.
Yeah. So it's worth watching just even to share her story.
Yeah.
And understand.
It's heavy. It is heavy. Like, it's not for the faint of heart, for sure. Mm-hmm. But it's a good one. But if you had to say
one more tough nitty gritty show to watch, what would be your final recommendation of something you binged?
You mean as in a documentary?
Or yeah, like in this theme, so we can move on to something a little bit more lighthearted.
Okay. Oh dear, I'll Be Gone in the Dark.
Oh, I don't think I saw that.
That one was on Crave, and there's a book by the same name. Do you know Patton Oswalt? Oswald?
He's a comedian. I know him from King of Queens.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was Doug's friend.
His wife, Michelle McNamara, was a true crime podcaster and like self-sleuth of true crime. And she had a blog. Maybe it wasn't a podcast. I think maybe it was a blog that she had. And she did all this research. There was 3 different areas in California, I believe, that were having serial rapist things happening. It all ended up being the same guy, but this was back in a time where they weren't sharing information between the districts.
Right.
So it was the original Night Stalker, the East Area Rapist, and one other thing, the Golden State Killer. All ended up being the same guy. And it was her work doing all her research, trying to, like, being that true crime enthusiast.
Right. She had a passion and she picked it apart, and she did what some detectives couldn't do because they didn't have the information, but freedom of information, she was able to get it, right? Wow.
And it's her book all about trying to chase this guy. But in the meantime, she kind of had her own descent into madness, and she ended up dying.
Oh.
She was, trying to kill the pain of what she was discovering. With, some beverages. But then she wasn't sleeping, so she was taking some sleeping medication too.
Oh.
And she ended up dying. And so the book, I think, was finished by somebody else.
Okay.
They caught him based on all this stuff.
Before or after she passed?
After.
Oh.
Yeah. But the documentary is more about her descent into madness and her story, as opposed to what
her story was about.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Interesting. Because I do remember hearing that Patton Oswalt, he lost his wife in a tragic way, but I would never have realized it was connected like that.
It's worth watching. I think there's
Interesting.
6 episodes.
On Crave. I have Crave and I've
Crave.
never
It's
seen
called
this.
I'll Be Gone in the Dark.
I'll be
I
gone in
have
the
the
dark.
book too, Mike, if you'd like to read the book.
That probably won't happen, but
I
thank
know,
you.
I know. But no, that's a really good one.
All right, I'm writing it down. Interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of podcasts,
Yes.
live wait, what did you say? True crime podcasts.
Yes.
I have just started, literally meaning episode 1 of Only Murders in the Building. Have you heard of this?
That's a TV show too. That's a Netflix show.
It's on Disney Plus.
Oh,
It
is
might
it
be on
Disney
Prime
Plus?
and stuff. It might be on Prime and stuff too. I don't know,
Okay.
but it's definitely on Disney Plus. And it's got Selena Gomez, Steve Martin,
Yeah.
and Martin Short
Yeah.
leading this and I've just watched the first episode, and essentially what it is somebody is murdered in their New York apartment building, and the 3 of these people, Selena, Martin, and oh god, what's the other one's name? Martin Short and Steve Martin.
Steve Martin. Yeah.
That's tricky with the 2 Martins in there.
Yeah.
Anyways, the 3 of them realize that they're really into the same true crime podcast, so they kind of like get together, and then they're realizing that maybe they can have do a podcast about this murder that has happened in their building.
Okay.
And that's all I've got so far. And the first
Ooh.
episode ended on a bit of a twist that is making me want to come back, but there's just way too many things on the watch list right now
Yeah.
that I'll have to
It
make.
sounds good though.
But I've heard great things about it, and
Huh.
if you've seen it out there, let me know, because I would love to hear your feedback on it so far.
Huh. Okay. What else you got?
And it's a comedy, by the way. It sounds very dark, but obviously, I think if you get Steve Martin and Martin
Yeah.
Short in there, you're getting some laughs out of it.
What other comedies have we got?
Well, we have been watching. Are you like into any sort of like reality watching at all? Like, for example, like Nailed It. That show makes me laugh. It's dumb. Every episode's the same. You know what you're getting out of it.
Sometimes.
There's no real surprise, but it's just like fun background TV watching.
I used
Where you
to
just-
watch Cake Boss all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, that's the one with wait, what is his name?
Buddy.
Yes. So it's actually funny. I was in Toronto this weekend at Sherway Gardens, and there's this giant vending machine, and it's a Cake Boss vending machine,
Oh,
and you can
Carlos
buy
Bakery. Yeah.
a plate of cake out of this vending machine. I was going to do it, but I have a giant cake here already to eat from my mom for my birthday still, so I wasn't going
Aw.
to get. Buddy's cake is second rate.
I don't have any cake.
You can have a piece. I'll save you a
Yes.
piece of this delicious chocolate.
How's that for Jones and for cake? I don't have any cake.
Other comedy things we've been binging, Superstore.
Okay.
Okay, so have you watched it at all?
No.
So it takes place. It essentially is like a sitcom that takes place in a Walmart superstore.
Okay.
They never say Walmart, but it's like, we know we're in a Walmart right now. It's kind of ridiculous. Some of the scenarios and stuff are not all believable whatsoever, but there is a lot of like little jokes in it that make me laugh. Like in between scenes, they'll like cut away to like a customer doing something
Okay.
in an aisle, and it's just like those little talkless moments where they're showing little clips of things that happen in a superstore when you're not looking. They kill me. So it's kind of it's a good chuckle worth watching that I
Okay.
think a lot of people have quite enjoyed.
Of course, you know what I'm going to say here.
Are you going to say The Office?
The Office.
Oh yeah. That's on my list.
Yeah.
That's an always binge. That's on all the
That-
time.
I don't know if I should be ashamed, embarrassed, or proud of the fact that I've watched that entire series front to back 24 times.
You know this. You've been keeping a tally.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of times. I have problems, but I love it.
So when COVID first hit and we were sitting at home and I was working from home, I would always have that on the TV in the background.
Yeah.
Like I watched it the whole the whole series within the first week, I think, or something like that of
Yeah.
being home. And then I put it to bed. I didn't really want to watch it like right away, but I started listening to the Office Ladies podcast. And if you're
Yeah.
a fan of The Office, this podcast is really cool. They rewatch every single episode of The Office, starting episode 1, the pilot. And what they do is they kind of do a walkthrough of the episode, and they share interesting facts about some of the things that have happened, or like maybe how they made certain character choices, or how they did certain props, which if it interests you, I find that stuff really interesting. So I've been binging the Office Ladies podcast, which prompts me to rewatch the episode because they point out really neat things in the background that I would never see.
I have to watch or listen to that in just little segments.
The Office Ladies?
Yeah, I can't listen to several episodes at once.
Why is that?
It's an auditory thing. I find their voices very shrill.
You know what's really funny is in the episode that came out on Wednesday, last Wednesday.
Yes, I heard it.
Jenna Fisher talks about how the writers refer to Pam's voice as shrill.
Yeah, I find like especially when they get excited about something and they get a little higher pitched.
It's a little squeaky.
It's squeaky, and it's just, it's just too much.
Oh, it's so good we're perfect, eh? And we don't have to worry about any of that.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, as somebody who has a lot of sensory issues,
right,
I can only watch or listen to so many at a time because it bothers me.
Cue the yodeling pickle, please.
Okay.
No,
we're twins today. I'm going to take it with me if you weren't here last time.
Lori looks
pickle.
like a big cozy pickle right now in her green sweater, and she
twins.
has her yodeling pickle back.
It's like the movie Twins. One of us is Arnold, the other one's Danny DeVito. You decide.
Yes.
But how about Seinfeld?
Oh, so Seinfeld has always been a good classic for my household. Kevin's not so much a Seinfeld guy, but he can get into a good Elaine scene. He likes Elaine, especially when she's mad, like when she's stuck on the subway and it's just her internal monologue of like the subway breaking down. She has a wedding to go to. That stuff like that really gets to him. But what's your favorite Seinfeld episode?
The Burning.
The Burning.
The Burning is the one where Kramer has to pretend that he has gonorrhea.
Oh,
yeah. And that's the one where Putty and Elaine are fighting about whether or not Elaine's going to hell.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And that was the tractor.
Right.
The tractor story, the gonorrhea from the tractor.
Yes. And Kramer's got to pretend he's got gonorrhea because he's going to see doctors who are trying to diagnose. He was given gonorrhea as this is your illness. Come and pretend you have it so that the doctors can guess. Yes. And it turns into a whole production, and he's lighting cigarettes and setting the mood and all sorts of stuff. I would say one of my favorite Seinfelds is the Kenny Rogers Roasters one.
Kenny, chicken, mess you up. I love that. I've also seen that probably at least 15 times.
Season or series.
Yeah, it is entirely.
Gosh. Oh, well, it is a good one. And we've done it many a times, but one that Kevin and I will start over and over again is Schitt's Creek.
I love that one too.
And every time I watch it, I think I said it before, but there's some things within that story. If you've seen Schitt's Creek, you would know Patrick and David, and there's some similarities between their characters that ring true for Kevin and I as a couple. And like, part of me likes to watch Schitt's Creek and just pretend they wrote it about us. But it just, I don't know, it warms my heart, and it makes me appreciate that you can laugh at some of the silly things that we've been through before that are relatable now because of this.
Can I be Moira?
Sure.
With the
crows?
For it.
You got the crows down.
The crowing.
Just work on your wig collection.
Christina, she just had a blowout.
You can't put two wigs in the same bag because they don't get along.
That's right.
So stupid.
If you like Seinfeld, do you like Curb Your Enthusiasm?
No.
I'm surprised.
So I grew up with Seinfeld. That makes sense. I loved watching it. I was never really a Friends person. I couldn't get into Friends.
Me either.
And as I got older, like there was quite a while where I didn't watch Seinfeld because I didn't have cable and it wasn't available on streaming services and stuff. So like quite a few years, I didn't actually watch any Seinfeld, but in my heart. And then I got Crave and Curb Your Enthusiasm's on it. And I started watching it. And I'm like, why is he always yelling? And it just like, I couldn't get into it. I really tried to, and I couldn't get it. And then, all right, break. Fast forward a bit. Seinfeld comes out. I'm watching Seinfeld and I go, oh my God, it's the exact same thing. He yells the way George does. Like everything about it's the same. Like in terms of like but I don't know why I can't buy into Curb. I can't do it.
I love it. I finished the whole series. Love it.
What do you love? What do you love the most about it? Like, what about it sticks out to you? Just
Larry David, I think, is my spirit animal.
okay.
Like, I really think that we're
'Cause
connected.
He says it how it is.
Well, he will notice things and kind of focus on things that most people don't care about, but he'll
Okay.
pick it out and he'll make a whole conversation about it.
Right.
And I have done that. And I appreciate the things that he picks out. Like when he talks about the stop and chat. There's only so long you can stop and chat with somebody before it's awkward.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like there's a perfect amount of time. There's a sweet spot for the stop and chat.
Right.
Yeah.
Before the social obligation is now gone and you should be moving on with your life.
Yeah. Then it's just awkward. Then it's like, okay, that's
Okay.
weird. You know, there's an in and out time for that kind of thing.
Right.
I appreciate a lot of Larry's observations.
Okay. Well, I
His
can too.
neuroticism sees my neuroticism.
There you go. I think maybe it just my energy wasn't to his energy at the time of watching it. But
You gotta, that first episode is the one where he's got the pleat in his pants
yes,
and it makes it look like he has an erection.
it tents his pants. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Everything.
hilarious. Like the whole episode is based on that.
Well, maybe I need like a drink or something before I watch it and I'll listen.
Quite possibly.
Yeah,
You know
maybe.
what? When I first started watching it, I was like, oh, I don't know. But then I pushed through and I gave it a little bit more of a chance and then I was hooked.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you watch this when it was on TV or did you wait till it came out and you binged it on something?
I binged it because I didn't have HBO television or anything.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there any other old TV shows like Seinfeld and stuff that you've revisited while in COVID?
Alf.
Oh, he used to
Believe it
kind
or
of
not.
scare me as a kid.
Yeah, he's weird looking, right? Like he's,
Especially in the opening credits. And there's one point in the opening credits where the camera kind of falls to the ground and you see his feet run
Yes.
away.
Yes.
I always was like cool knowing it was a puppet behind a couch, but then
Yeah.
you saw his feet. And a young Mike Crab didn't know what to do with that information.
I think there was actually a dude in the suit.
Oh.
I
We need
think
to-
so.
Everyone say hi to Rob. Rob, come on. We got some Google
We have a
reading.
mission. We have a mission for you, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Not bad at all. I will look this up as we speak.
You're going to find the actor who played Elf.
I'm pretty sure you are correct though.
So Elf was then probably two actors, a voice actor and a physical actor.
Yo, Willie. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently the guy who played Willie absolutely hated being on the show.
Because he was kind of like I don't want to say, but like a dorky looking guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I guess he was like a trained actor.
Oh,
Like a
so he
really-
was like classically
this is-
theatrically trained or something. And
Apparently. That's
and they
the
were all
word.
beneath
Word
him.
on the street. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
hmm.
according to well, this is probably just it might be Wikipedia actually. It's it was a puppeteer who also did the voice.
Oh,
Alf, a fellow by the name of Paul Fusco, Fusco.
okay.
So he wasn't inside the doll?
No,
Sesame Street style.
I think the shot that you mentioned about seeing feet, I think that was a one-off.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it was just in the opening credits. that I
Yeah,
remember
it was just
seeing that.
something they did, but for the most part, it was a puppeteer and the guy doing the voice, all the same. Paul Fusco.
Cool.
Speaking of puppeteers in old TV shows, do you guys remember Dinosaurs
Yeah.
with like Fran and not the mama? And
Yeah. I never liked that show.
Oh no,
No.
I remember growing up watching that quite a bit. And it was Jim Henson show, I think. Like it was all his puppeteering and stuff like that. Directed by Steven Spielberg too, I think. Anyways, that's on Disney Plus. So when we got that, Kevin and I went through a little binge session of some of those Dinosaurs episodes. We quite enjoyed them.
Do you remember the Fraggles?
Is this like
Fraggle
Fraggle Rock?
Yes.
No, I want to say that's before my time. I
How
think.
about the Muppet Show?
Yeah, but my family was never a Muppet family. My dad hates the Muppets.
I love the Muppets.
I love them.
I like the Waldorf and what's his
Statler and Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf.
Yes.
The two old guys in the balcony. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, in
But-
Muppets.
Two old guys
Yes.
cracking
Now,
shots.
before we go too much further, I should tell you that just following my search down the pages a little bit, I did come across an actor who played in the Alf suit. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
so
by the
I'm
name
not crazy.
Mishu
Well,
Mazaros, Michu Mazaros, Mezzaros, a 33-inch tall actor and former circus performer who played the alien of Alf.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah,
We learned something new.
interesting.
Look at
Yes, I wasn't aware.
Hey, Rob, is there any TV shows you're binging through COVID?
Oh, yeah, quite a few actually. Did we mention Ozark? We already talked about-
No.
we didn't.
Yeah, well, that one's just come back with I think that's the 4th season.
And final season.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say it's going to be the last one. So this should be pretty. I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
There's only
Um,
7 episodes released.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Like a
well,
half
uh,
a season.
yeah.
Okay, so that one's at the top of my list. I'll tell you one that have been watching just like very recently.
What's that?
It's on the Disney Plus channel. It's called Burn Notice.
Oh, that's
I
kind
heard
of,
of
it's
that.
an older show, isn't it? Like
A little bit older,
as in,
yes,
like 10
but
years.
but it's actually really, really good. It's
Interesting.
kind of a comic version of MacGyver.
Oh,
It's a
it is-
comedy.
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
It's got comic moments to it,
Drama.
but it's not a comedy in and of itself. But it's
Okay.
called Burn Notice. It is really, really good. It's a great story.
Interesting.
Some of the older stuff, I'm just looking at my list here. Some of the older stuff we've gone through. Designated Survivor.
Designated Survivor?
Yes.
Different than Survivor.
Yes. No, not Survivor.
Okay.
Designated Survivor. This is Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh,
Okay. Excellent story. Very, very well written. So the premise, without giving too much away, is that whenever there is a cabinet meeting at the White House where both the president and the vice president must be in attendance, one member of the cabinet is shuffled off to a undisclosed remote location, and they are the designated survivor. In other words, in the event that both the president and the vice president are killed, this designated survivor becomes the president.
interesting.
And it's extremely well written. Like if you like those kind of political drama things, very, very well written, called Designated Survivor. Of course, Kiefer Sutherland is very, very good in it. And so of course that's exactly what happens in the very first episode. You know, there's an explosion at the White House. He suddenly becomes president and I think he was in the storyline, he was the head of HUD, the housing and urban development or something. So
Okay.
he says, I never had any aspirations to be the president or anything more than the senator that he is, kind of thing. But suddenly he becomes the president, just thrown into making these, world-changing decisions, spur of the moment. But again, very, very well written. Designated Survivor.
never heard of it. I'll have to look into that one.
Yeah, no, that was good. Going back a little bit, if you like things like The Crown, which was
The
the
Crown's
story-
on my list.
the
I
story
watched
of the Queen, that's very, very good.
That is
Yeah.
very
Um,
good. I'm going to say really quick about that show. So I'm not
Yeah.
like big into the royal family history.
No,
And
my
Neither.
wife is. My wife. Yeah,
Oh, she loves it.
yeah,
So what I was worried about that it was going to be kind of dry British.
Right.
It's
TV.
good.
it is
And
very
it
good.
is so good. And
The
I know it's
Crown.
not all accurate, but it's accurate enough for
Oh,
me
it
to
is.
want to
It is
research.
quite.
what they talk
It's
about.
quite close, actually. If you're into like the non-reality kind of shows, Vikings was a great series.
Okay, I've heard
into
great
that kind
things
of
about that one, but
Vikings.
I have not.
If you're into that, let's see, another kind of drama series, one called Homeland.
Uh-huh.
That's a spy espionage kind
With
of
what's her name?
Is that-
Not Jessica
yeah,
Chastain.
the blonde, what's her name? I can't remember either.
Hilary Swank. Maybe.
No, that's not her.
I don't know.
Was
what I'm talking
Mandy
about.
Patinkin in that one?
Yes. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, yeah, he was. Most recently, I know our time is running here, but most recently, I liked Yellowstone.
Okay.
That's excellent. Absolutely excellent.
And that's about it's about Yellowstone Park. And
No, Yellowstone turns out to be the name of a ranch in Montana, like,
Oh.
3,000 acres or something, huge cattle ranch. The head of the ranch is Kevin Costner.
Okay.
And so the story is about how developers want to take over the ranch and use the land to build something or else. But the family name is Dutton. I can't remember his first name, but his daughter is a gal by the name of Beth Dutton, and she is one bad mama. Let me tell you. So
mama.
It's a great storyline too. Yeah, you would enjoy that. Yellowstone.
Okay.
You would enjoy that. And then I like sci-fi stuff. So recently there's Mandalorian is on Disney Plus, which is a spin-off from Star Wars, of course.
Right, which I'm not personally a fan of Star Wars stuff.
Star Wars. Okay.
I only like Star Wars
Yeah,
episode 4, 5, and 60.
Yeah, if you like it, you like it. But
right.
And then there's another one called Boba Fett.
Right. So with this whole Star Wars world thing is not something that I dip my toes into, but I do understand that a lot of people who aren't necessarily Star Wars fans are really into it, and that I hear that they're doing these shows really well.
They're very well done. Yeah, for sure.
Huh. If you were I have a question. So if you had to recommend one show, Rob and Laurie, if you guys had to recommend one thing on your list of stuff that you watched that you're like, guys, maybe give me a comedy and something else where it's like, I should really do this. I'm going to throw out Bates Motel. Have you guys seen Bates Motel?
Yes.
Oh, it's so good. The acting in it is incredible.
Bates Motel was fantastic.
So I would highly recommend that. It's obviously the story of Norman Bates from the movie Psycho as a young man, and you kind of learn how he becomes the way he becomes, and the relationship he has with his mother and stuff. And it's just, the acting in it is quite incredible.
Maybe we need to do a part 2 of this. I have so many more things to share with you.
I hope everyone else is enjoying this chat as much as we are, because I've learned about a lot of new things.
Yeah, I'll recap 2 that I've already mentioned. If you're looking for, sort of a good storyline, Yellowstone is excellent.
Okay.
And then if you're looking for something with a good storyline, but a little lighter, would be Burn Notice.
Okay. Rob's recommendations.
There you go.
What about Laurie's list?
It would definitely depend on who I was talking to and what they were into.
Certainly.
Because I have so many things on this list that are so good. And I spent a lot of time creating this list. I did the homework. I watched.
You came prepared.
I don't know. I really enjoyed Mr. Mercedes on Prime.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
Heard of it. Haven't watched it.
Heard of it. Yeah.
It was fantastic.
And what's the premise of it?
Well, it's based on a Stephen King book. Not scary. Sometimes Stephen King kind of goes out there and does some other stuff, not necessarily a horror.
Right.
Mr. Mercedes, and this isn't really giving anything away because this happens within the first 5 minutes of the first episode.
Okay.
A bunch of people are lined up outside. It's like at 3 a.m. I don't know if it's a store or something that they want to get into really quickly. So they're lined up, and this Mr. Mercedes guy is in a Mercedes across the way and just runs them over and kills all of them.
Oh.
And so the rest of the story is the detective trying to hunt down who this idiot is and why he did this.
Interesting.
It is so great.
So is it like a 1 season kind of thing? Like once it's done?
No, there were 3, I believe, 3 seasons.
Oh, all based around the same accident? Or did it branch off into other
stories? It's a little bit more, like it develops more and more, and the other characters are introduced and some other weird stuff starts happening. And Brendan Gleeson, he's the actor who plays the detective. Irish guy, kind of an older, rugged looking guy, but he made the show. He was so great.
Oh, cool.
But the guy who played Mr. Mercedes,
Yeah.
kind of looked a little bit like, is it Bill Skarsgård, the guy who plays It?
Yeah.
If you ordered him from Wish.
Okay.
Kind of looks a little bit like him, just a little
Right.
bit. But he definitely had that kind of psychopathic vibe in the show. Really, really good.
Okay.
I want to talk more about these later at another time because there's
We're
so many more that we
circling
have to
back.
talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think you would both, if you haven't seen Black Mirror.
It's on my list. It was one of the things I did want to
Is
talk
it?
about.
Rob, have you seen Black Mirror?
No, I have not. As
As a tech guy, you would love it.
Okay.
It's like
It's
a
like-
modern day Twilight Zone almost.
Yes, but
Cool.
all based around how technology can go wrong
Right. Wow.
and how it can really affect and negatively affect society or one's personal life.
I'm
Or
gonna
something
write it
like
down.
It's great.
It's on Netflix. Every episode, I was a little confused because when it showed up in my thing, it was like third season or something like that. And
Yeah.
I said, I'll give it a go. And I played it and it started playing the third season. Like it didn't start playing from season 1. So I was like, and I didn't realize it till after the first episode of the third season. And I was like, oh my God, I'm missing something. I was kind of confused. So I started watching from the beginning. I realized every episode is its own story. So it's like, it doesn't matter what order you watch it in.
Right.
Every episode is its own story. And yes, technology comes into effect and stuff like that into almost all of them. But it's unsettling. It's interesting. And yeah, the best way I can kind of put it was as a current day Twilight Zone. And this was the first movie, I believe, where they made like a choose your own adventure version of it. So if you go on Netflix, there's an episode of Black Mirror where you choose what the character in the movie, what their choices are and what they do. Have you seen this, Laurie?
I didn't watch that one.
Right.
That part didn't interest me of doing that.
It was
But
different. Was it
Was
the
it?
same as the rest of it? Wasn't what I wanted out of Black Mirror episode, but the concept that they were able to make a tell your own story with live actors that you got to choose was a very interesting concept, I thought, and really it kind of blew my mind for like, oh, where is technology going that we can choose how this movie ends? Was certainly interesting.
Yeah.
So,
What a great series
Amazing.
that was.
yeah. So I will echo Laurie's remarks regarding Black Mirror. So guys, I think
Right.
we have a lot more to talk about
Yeah.
on
Sure,
another
sure.
future
Yeah,
episode.
we're gonna have to cycle back around this one, I think.
Yeah. Because there's so many. We only made a dent in this. Nope.
Just barely, right? Oh, and between now and the next one, you're going to be writing more things because the way you're
Well-
binging, you're going to have like a lot more shows on that list, I'm sure.
I'm considering it show prep. This is for us. It's homework
research.
for. Yeah, it's show prep.
It's-
Research.
It was what pays the bills.
Sort of.
So I hope people we'll put a question out there on our social media, seeing what things that you guys watch, and then maybe for our next episode where we circle back to this in the future, maybe it'll give us a chance to see some of your recommendations from our audience that we can maybe enjoy
great.
and share on as well. But until then, we hope everyone takes care, and we will see you on our next episode of Out for Coffee.
With Mike and Laurie.
And Rob.
Let's say bye to
guys.
Rob.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Do you have questions, comments, or ideas for a future show? Reach out to Mike and Laurie on their social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or email us at mikeandlauriesocials@gmail.com.